Good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I am the Director of Operations here at the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, Non-Baccalaureate STEM Career Pathways, sponsored by Universal Technical Institute, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality career-focused education at 16 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 21-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 17,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation, our scholarship application process, and how your students can apply for a scholarship to attend the institution we're talking about today to our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. Since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America has remained the leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation again is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background, so you're in good hands today. But before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of the presentation. All participants can submit questions while this presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature inside of this Zoom meeting, and are encouraged to do so because at the end of the presentation, or approximately 2:25, I will then open it up for question and answers at the end. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Lee. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I know you're busy, so I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your schedule to spend it with me. So let's get right into the presentation. If you're reading the newspapers or watching news on TV, you will know that college enrollments are dropping right now at about a 10 to 12% clip. This is at colleges, universities, community colleges. They all seem to be dropping a little bit. Why, you might ask? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're dealing with these Gen Z kids that they want instant success. They want instant feedback. They don't want to go to school 4, 5, 6, 7 years. They want to do something where they can get a skill, they can get it done in a short amount of time, and they get right into their career field and start making money, because they're all about making money. But we're seeing that that the enrollment is dropping in those, but they are not dropping in the trade schools, in the technical schools like UTI. And so that further enhances my theory that I think these students are just looking for something that's a little quicker, that they can get into their career field and not have to spend the amount of time that that students in the past have had to spend. According to a survey by Stanley Black & Decker, 85% of young people value a skilled trades career. And that's great. But only 16% are very likely to consider such a career. That's not so great. But what's the disconnect there between those two percentages? Well, the biggest problem is that they don't understand what skilled trades are all about. And there's many educators that don't either. We tend to think of these as like menial jobs, hobbies. They don't pay well. They don't have good benefits or anything like that. And nothing could be further from the truth. These are all STEM careers. You talk about building a house. I mean, a carpenter has to have STEM skills for measuring, to make sure that house is square. If you're working on a car or a truck, whatever there, once again, STEM careers. The other problem that we have, which lends to this, is the fact we have underrepresentation of women in the industry. Young women were 15% less likely to consider a skilled trades career simply because they think they can't do it. They think they're not invited. And I'll talk more about this a little bit later in the presentation. But right now we have about 27% of the STEM population is female. And that number has to rise. So those are probably the two biggest reasons why you see such a disconnect between the value of a skilled trades career versus considering that same career. So when we're looking for alternatives to traditional education, we have to think in terms of what are employers looking for? And the answer is simple: skills. What do you bring to the table? What can you do? What do you offer that's going to enhance that company, business, school, wherever it is you're at? You all as school counselors, you have a specific set of skills that make you great counselors. That's what employers are looking for. We have to remember, though, there are two types of skills. There are the hard skills, being able to plumb, weld, work on a car, build a house, cut hair, whatever. Those are the hard skills. But more importantly, or as importantly, are the soft skills, the communication skills. Right now, we have a generation of kids that, they got cheated with the pandemic. Communication skills kind of gone out the window. Oh yeah, they can text, all that, but they're just not very good at verbal skills or written skills. Working as a team, those things. These are things that we work on at UTI to make sure that these kids know how to interview, how to make a resume, how to communicate with their customers. All these are very important. So when we think in terms of skills, we have to think in terms of both the hard skills and the soft skills. I'm here in Texas. I presented yesterday at the Lone Star State School Counselor Conference. And this slide always gets the most pictures. And it is what the employer thinks versus what the employee thinks. So in the first one, professionalism, work ethic. The employer rated the employee at 42.5% proficiency. The employee rated themselves 89.4, almost 90% proficiency. You see, more than twice as much as what the employer thought. And to take that a step further, oral and written communications, the employer put the employee at 41.6% proficiency. They put themselves at 79.4% proficiency. So you might look at that and think, well, how can there be such a difference in what one thinks over the other? Well, I have a theory on that, and it goes back to how we treat young people. You think about it. When kids are little, everybody gets a ribbon, everybody gets a trophy, everybody gets a medal, nobody loses, everybody wins, everybody's great. And as they grow older, that compounds. And so then by the time they get into their career choice, they have a pretty high opinion of themselves. They've never been taught how to fail. They've never been taught how to lose. And there's nothing wrong with that. As educators, that's part of the job, is we have to prepare these kids because they are going to face failures. They're going to face tough times, and they have to know how to handle those. And so then when they get into a career and they don't know that, they tend to think very highly of themselves. They think that they're doing better than they really are. We have to let these students know when they're in school, when they're doing their training things, that, hey, this is not good. You can do better than this. Or, let's start over. No, you're going down the wrong track. It's not going to hurt anybody's self-esteem or pride or anything like that. It's going to make them better. So we have to address that. And of course, there's others on here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I think Lee sends you a copy of this so you can see it later in your own time. Another startling statistic: almost half of college graduates walking on the face of the earth today have a degree they're not using or they didn't need. That's pretty sad when you think about the time, the energy, effort, and money that they put into getting this degree, only not to be using it. It's like going and buying a brand new car and park it in the garage. You never take it out, never drive it anywhere. It's a sad loss. I was in Tennessee a few weeks ago at the Tennessee School Counselor Conference, and on my way back to the airport, my Uber driver, talking with her, she has a master's degree. She had gotten it about 6 months previous to that, and she said, I said, well, why did you get the master's degree? She goes, well, I just thought it'd make me better. But she said, I really enjoy driving an Uber. You don't need a master's degree for an Uber, or a bachelor's degree for that matter. But she likes driving an Uber because she can control her time and she can control her money. If she wants to take a day off, she can do that. If she wants to make more money, she drives more. So there's a great example. And on top of that, she tells me her boyfriend has a bachelor's degree and he owns a food truck. So, it's crazy to think between the two of them, they make over $100,000 a year. So they're doing very well, but they didn't need that bachelor's degree, and they both have one. They're not even using it. So we have to think about that with career pathways. Are we giving students the right guidance to what they need to achieve the career pathway that they want? Trade schools, unfortunately, still carry the stigma of providing a second-rate education. It's sad to think, but it's still seen that way. Remember, your students that choose this career pathway, that's their plan A. That's their first-rate education. It's not a backup. All the time we hear about, well, you got to have a backup plan. You got to have a backup plan. Well, I understand that. I understand the theory of that. But in reality, these people, this is what they want to do. We have to remember that students that pick this, they feel like their education, their career is just as important as someone that's going to be a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, something like that will need a bachelor's degree. So we have to give them the same due diligence. The other thing we have to remember too is how that affects their parents, because all parents are proud of their kids and what they're going to do. So if we look down on those, that we're sending the wrong message to the parents as well. We want to celebrate those successes. We celebrate kids that are going to go into the military. So why don't we celebrate kids that are going to go into skilled trades, just like we do kids that get full ride scholarships to go play football or basketball? We have to give them that same thing. And remember too that the plan B thinking, well, if it doesn't work out for me to be a veterinarian or be a doctor, I can always be a welder. Anybody can do that. No, they can't. Not just anybody can do that. It takes a specific set of skills. And so we need to promote that with these kids when we're preparing them for their career pathway. The most important word that you're going to see on this screen is the word essential. Essential industries and professions tradespeople help keep America running. You look at that list on there. We teach in all of these areas, but that's not why they're essential, because we teach them. They're essential because your life would not be as good without them. You look at that and you say, a plumber? Really? That's essential? Sure is, when the toilet stool won't flush. You have to think about that when you need these people. And on top of that, in the world we're living in today, it's getting harder and harder to find these people. You own a house, a car, a washing machine, I don't care what it is you own, try getting somebody to come out and work. We just recently did some renovations to our house. I thought that was going to be maybe a 2-month project. It's turned into 7-8 months. We're still not quite done. It's just because we can't get people out there, can't get people to work, because we can't find the skilled labor that we need. So keep that in mind. These are all essential careers that make your life a whole lot easier than it would be. I want to take that a step further. We break ours into transportation, energy, and manufacturing. One of the things that we do is we do workshops in high schools where we go in and we talk to kids about career pathways and career readiness. We talk to them about STEM careers. We don't just talk to them about UTI, but we talk to them about all types of avenues that they can follow. But kids don't know some of these things exist. For instance, non-destructive testing. I'll bet most of you on this call today have no idea what that is. I didn't before we acquired MIAT, but they test bridges, they test buildings. If a hurricane happens or if a earthquake, they have to have some way to test those buildings to see if they're going to be safe to go back into. So non-destructive testing is a way to do that. But I'll guarantee you have students that have never heard of that. Me personally, I thought, I drive across a bridge, it didn't fall in, that's a good day. But in reality, these have to be tested constantly to see, because they're under stress all the time. We have to make sure that they're safe to use, safe to be in. So that's why we do the workshops, to expose students to what's out there available to them. Who knows what they might be interested in. And they might be interested in something they didn't even know existed until we come out and tell them about it. So make sure that you get a UTI out to your school to do one of those workshops. I'm going to shift gears now. I mentioned earlier about getting more women involved in STEM. And so one of the things that we're trying to do at UTI is we're trying to partner to get more females to our campuses to raise the number of students that we have that are female. Imagine the world we can build. Last year, we partnered with Ignite Worldwide. Ignite is inspiring girls now in technology evolution. And we hosted workshops. We're continuing that this year on our own. We're actually doing our Women in STEM again this year, but we're doing it a little bit differently than we did last year. But what we did is we had these girls come to our campuses so they could see what they're like. And we had 8 of them last year at 8 different campuses. We had over 1,000 high school girls attend and tour UTI. We want them to see a true STEM school in action. We feature them on social media, on LinkedIn, on social media like Instagram and Facebook and all those. We conducted one virtual conference because not all girls could make it to one of our campuses. We had over 200 high school girls there. It was a great experience for them. The mantra is, you can't be what you can't see. But so we want them to see. They don't have any role models. So we made that possible for them. One of the events we had was at the Morrisville campus there on October 13, 2021. We had a great event there. We had 115 guests. We even were awarded, based on this event plus a couple of others, we were awarded the ACCSC Community Service Award, a highly prestigious award that we were given. But these girls, they don't know what they don't know. This party's been going on and only the guys have been invited. So you can see on there, if you look at the upper right-hand corner, there's girls in a pit crew class. That's where we teach pit crew for NASCAR. They're out there doing that. I'll bet a week ago they thought, there's no way I could do something like this or I could be involved in this. And there they are out there doing it. You see them, in the lower right-hand corner, and they're working together on a project. They all have their portfolios that we give them, and they're working on a project together, teaching teamwork. And then the other thing that we do is we bring in panelists. These are women in STEM, like Kristen Labonte, the president and founder of Breaking Limits. We have Sophie Fox, CEO of Women in Wheels, Madison Conrad with Roush Yates Engines, Jennifer Lefevre with Roush Yates, and Brooke Ulrich with Home Depot. And so these girls, they're great resources for these young girls to talk to them about. They're going to ask them questions that you might think are foolish, but they're important to them. Were you scared? Because we are. Did people make fun of you? Because people are making fun of them for choosing this. How does your family handle it? Parents, when they find out their daughter wants to be a diesel tech, yeah, there's kind of some red flags there. They don't want them doing that, but they don't know what the industry is like and that their daughters could be very heavily involved in something like that. The best part about these, though, is at the end. We have the girls fill out cards talking a little bit about their experience, what they learned that day. Here's what one young lady wrote. I like watching cars go fast, but wow, today I couldn't stop smiling. I was intrigued with everything. I had no idea how I would start a job in this career. Now all I can think is to apply here after high school. Here's an example of a girl that she came to the conference not knowing what to expect and had a whole new world opened up to her that she didn't know existed. That's pretty amazing to think that that's happening here in the 21st century, but it is. We have to get more girls involved in STEM careers, and we have to do it by showing them what's available. I'm from Missouri. You got to show me. That's what we're doing with these girls. We're showing them, what's out there available to them so that they can explore career options that they didn't think existed before and or that they could be involved with. With industry, I always tell schools, it's a big miss if you're not using industry in your high schools. We work with over 35 manufacturers. Companies like BMW, Porsche, Ford, GM, these kind of companies. That's who we work with. You can do that too in your high schools, maybe not to this level, but you have some local industry that would love to work with you. And why? Because they're looking for future employees. So they want to help you. They've got money for things like this too, to do things. So what we do, we hold events at dealerships. We hold events at our campus and we feature these companies. You can do the same thing. You can have an event at your high school, like you could have a career fair. Notice I didn't call it a college fair. Don't call it a college fair, because when you do, you're pigeonholing kids into thinking, okay, if college, and talking about the University of North Carolina State. What about a UTI, NTI? What about cosmetology school? All those, they're included too. And you can't assume that they think that they're included. So call them career fairs, but have industry come in and do things. That also helps with parents, so parents can see what they're doing. But it's a huge advantage for you to work with these guys. I just completed the FFA National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. We had a huge booth there with AGCO and Fit Tractors. And it showed students how industry and education partner with each other. It's a great opportunity, and you guys can do it too in your respective high schools. Of course, you guys are always thinking in terms of finances. How can you afford to go to school? And one of the things that I know that you have great success in is getting kids to fill out scholarships. Yeah, I know better. I know you do have difficulty with that. Few of you have success, but it's tough to get kids to fill out scholarships. What we love is our tuition reimbursement incentive program, or TRIP. We have hundreds of dealerships across the country, including right there in North Carolina and on the East Coast, that will give packages to our students anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000. Now, there's a catch. They're looking for students that go to school, show good professionalism, show good work ethic. That's what they're looking for. They want the best, but they're willing to invest money. Ray Katina up in New Jersey, their program is like over $50,000. Sign-on bonus, help them with tools. I mean, tools for these, they could be $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 for tools. So this is a great way to get your education paid for. And I know a lot of community college, they do the free college, but that doesn't work because kids have no skin in the game. This way, they have skin in the game. They have to work to get this. They have to earn the right to get their education paid for. So we think this is a great program and something you need to talk to your students about. These are locations across the country. Of course, we have our campus in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's our NASCAR Tech campus. But we also have 16 campuses nationwide. Our newest campuses in Austin, Texas, and Miramar, Florida. And then we have our 2 MIAT campuses in Canton, Michigan, and in Houston, Texas as well. But that national presence is huge because it gives students career opportunities anywhere in the country they want to go. They may go to school in North Carolina, but they may want to live in Florida. They may want to live in California. They may want to live in the Midwest somewhere. So that's available because you could walk into a dealership and say UTI, they'll know who we are. We're very well known in the industry. So we offer non-baccalaureate opportunities. We offer active project-based learning. We put an emphasis on professionalism. Part of your tuition are your uniforms. We expect you to wear them because you're going to have to wear them when you go into the dealership, wherever it is you start working. History of graduate success, that's kind of like our references. You can look up our graduates and see how well they're doing. Our graduation rate, the average graduation rate across the United States and in post-secondary schools is 48%. Ours is close to 70%. That's huge for them. And in the placement rate, we say we place 4 out of 5 of our graduates, but some of our programs are even higher than that. We are Title IV funded, so you do a FAFSA to see if you qualify for financial aid. We have scholarships and grants there to help with not only for school, but also to get to school, relocation grants, housing grants, because we do offer housing. And then the national presence and industry relationships, I already spoke to you about that as well, too. And then here's my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me. That's my email address. You can follow me on Instagram, Steve Coyle 2793. Follow me. I'll follow you back. This is my phone number. It goes right to my cell phone I have on me right now. But today, you've really made it when you have your own QR code. So there's my QR code. Please feel free to snap a picture of that and reach out to me if you have any questions, comments about today's presentation. I'll just finish by saying we want to partner with you any way we can. We offer these workshops for you. I offer professional development for school districts. I had some in Texas here yesterday. They're taking me up on my offer. They will have me come in and speak to their staff. So a lot of opportunities for us to partner with you any way we possibly can to help you to do the great job you already are doing. We just want to enhance that as much as we possibly can. So thank you so much for your time today. I know you're busy, as I said earlier, but I appreciate you taking a few minutes to listen to me. Hopefully you got a few good nuggets out of this. Wish you the best of luck for the rest of your school year. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of the presentation. So if you have a question for Dr. Coyle, please type it in the chat feature. Dr. Coyle, first question is about, if somebody was interested in scheduling a workshop with you, would they contact you, or should they scan the QR code? What should they do? Should they reach out to the campus?
Well, they could all the above. They could actually they could go to uti.edu and they could request someone reach out to them through there. They could reach out to me at my email address or snap my QR code and reach out to me that way, and then I can help them get set up for it. But we'll accommodate you any way we possibly can. But we just like to deal directly with you so we can find a convenient time for us to come out. Our workshops take about 40 minutes. During about a class period. So, and then we could work out something more. We could stay the whole day and do several presentations for you.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I was in high school, UTI came and talked to my classroom. It was a pretty cool presentation. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, Dr. Coyle. We get this all the time. Tell me the main difference between, somebody were to say to you, well, students could just get this education at a community college for cheaper. Why wouldn't they do that?
Well, that's a great question. You're right. We do get it all the time. And the first thing to remember is we are not a community college. We do not do the same things. It doesn't mean community colleges are bad and we're good, or vice versa. It has nothing to do with that. It's what the student is looking for. First of all, we do manufacturer-specific training. So we are looking for students that they want to go to work for BMW. They want to go to work for Porsche, for Mercedes-Benz, GM, or Ford. Some community colleges may have one or two. We have 37 alliances with manufacturers, and that number continues to grow. So that's a huge difference. Number two, the time that you're going to spend in school. You're going to be in school at UTI about a year. So when you're 19 years old, you're going to be out working. When you're 19 years old at community college, you're going to be still going to school, spending money there. So that's another one. And then finally, the trip package. That's a great equalizer. I mean, you have the opportunity to get your education free, but you got to work hard to get it. But if you do, my gosh, you can get all that paid off. It's a proven fact that a lot of these programs that states have where they give free education for the first 2 years, it's not working. Students are not completing school because they have no skin in the game. It's too easy to walk away because it's free. They're going to school only because it's free and not because it's a career pathway they want to follow. So really, those are the three major differences between us and a community college.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a great option, especially for those students who know for sure this is the industry they want to get into. Get in, get out, get working. Good option.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Exactly.
Just a few house cleaning items here. Number one, we have recorded this session. We'll be forwarding it to you likely tomorrow morning. I will include Dr. Coyle's contact information with the recording of this presentation to you tomorrow morning. There is a follow-up survey when you leave this meeting. If you wouldn't mind providing us with some feedback, that would be very much appreciated. It's only 4 questions long, and they're multiple choice, so it should be pretty easy to fill it out. But like I said, we do presentations like this all over the country, so any feedback you could provide would be very, very much appreciated. Before closing, I just want to thank all of you for joining us today and taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing with us today's presentation, and again, encourage you to contact him directly with any future questions that you may have. But on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Dr. Coyle and myself, I want to thank you and wish you a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.